Hey friends, what's happening? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. How you doing, mate? Are you okay? Are you doing well? I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News. That's right, the daily series here on the channel where I talk about what's being said about Chelsea from across all media and social media platforms, giving you my opinion on it. More importantly, asking for yours. A few things I want to talk about today. Caicedo, apparently being in bad form, the big talking point, which is I don't really see, but we'll get into that. The annual lunch at Chelsea happened today, and for the first time in a long time, Todd Boehly has said public words, which of course is being referenced and put around. Fabrizio Romano cited it. Other Chelsea news people have been talking about it, so I think that is interesting. We'll talk about that as well. And I really didn't want to speak about this. I spoke about it on my Instagram at FootballYannick. By the way, if you want to follow me on Instagram, you're welcome to. This Nico Jackson video of the OnlyFans girl going around. So we're going to talk about that. Hold on. I think I probably previewed that wrong, but we'll talk about that in just a second. Thank you for joining me. If you want to support the content, you can do simply by liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting the bell if you choose to subscribe. All right then, let's get into it. So, look, it's just so tabloidy, and I do ask for your forgiveness for referencing this. But, players, this is why players have got to be so careful. Now, there's an online content creator called Astrid Wet. If you use Twitter, you may have come across her before. She is an OnlyFans girl, and she is a Chelsea fan, and it's commonplace for female football fans to use that portal into the world, or that massive pool of men, basically, because football is like, everyone likes football, but in terms of like maybe interactions, football Twitter, it's so vastly male. My demographics on this channel is like 96% male. Do you know what I mean? So you can understand if you are in the adult industry and you're looking for young men that would be interested in your content. It's a really, the business model is sound. Do you know what I mean? You sort of latch on and say, oh yeah, I'm an Arsenal supporter, I'm a Chelsea supporter, and I'm going to do these lewd things. It's basically the target audience go, yeah, that's my football team. Yeah, titties. Do you know what I mean? And then they simp and give them all their money. I ain't got a problem with it. Look, you spend your money how you want. Do you know what I mean? I think probably I'm a little bit old for this kind of stuff now. More power to them. Make your money. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think sex work's a legitimate thing, but it's not particularly my vibe. Anyway, there's a story going around because there's this video clip of the woman, the content creator in question, FaceTiming Chelsea striker Nico Jackson, and he doesn't know, and this is confirmed at the end of the piece of content. I saw it on Twitter or X, when she hangs up, that he didn't know he was being recorded, and her words was technically, he's not being recorded, he's being live streamed. Oh, good. And I feel bad for the guy, man, because he's not saying anything too incriminating, but there's a kind of suggestive thing at the end that he wants her to send him something. Anyway, look, he's 22 years old, bro. Many of you who think about what you were like when you were 22 years old, all right? When you're a young man and you're, all the hormones or whatever. So, look, I think this is just I feel bad for him because he didn't know he was being streamed. But what I can't get my head around, right, is she claims to be a Chelsea fan, and if you are, then why the hell are you doing that to your players? Surely you want to protect your players. I'm not an adult performer, but if I was like, I'm a content creator, I make a living out of content, I wouldn't dream of doing a live stream on my social media, my Instagram or this YouTube channel, and speaking to a player and not telling them. And obviously, you could try and make it relevant, like if a female Chelsea player was interested in me, saying something like that and trying to take advantage and like calling them without them and recording them without them knowing. I think that's scandalous, man. I just can't get my head around. If you're a Chelsea fan, why would you do that to your players and put them in that vulnerable position, like the day or 2 days before a game as well? People say it's clout chasing. Maybe it is, but I'm sure she's making loads of money in terms of her profile and, you know, the different things that she's doing. Why do you need to do that to a Chelsea player? I don't know, maybe like perhaps she just didn't have time to have perspective on what's actually happening or whatever. I don't know if she's apologised or anything since. I don't know her, you know. I know, like, you know, I can't comment because I don't know her personally, but from that piece of media I've seen, and many of you, you know, if you haven't seen it, you can see it out. If not, it's like I say, he doesn't say anything particularly incriminating, but I just think it's just, I feel so bad for these young guys in this day and age. Yeah, I know you're vulnerable and, like, you know, don't go out partying, but for this, like, I don't know, you'd trust a Chelsea fan, wouldn't you? Anyway, let's move on. We'll do some Caicedo at the end if we have time. But it was the annual lunch, the famous Chelsea annual lunch, where there's players, ex-players like legends, and fans that, you know, sit and, like, obviously it's like a live, it's not a show, but like the players are talking. Lampard was there, Zola was there, there was like Bobby Di Matteo there looking at the pictures. And they speak, tell stories. Conor Gallagher and Armando Broja were there up on stage, and it's generally a nice thing. Yes, so Todd Boehly spoke, and it was an audience of nearly 500 people present in the audience, and there was a welcome message to the supporters. Todd Boehly spoke. He said this: "This is an event that I have heard so much about. When the current and former Chelsea players are joined by hundreds of supporters to celebrate everything that is good about this wonderful football club. I'm excited and honoured to be able to experience it for the first time." He goes into to speak about the theme of the party. "The theme this year is Through the Ages, looking back at the club's illustrious history since its foundation in 1905, and as you can see from the trophies around the room today," look at those trophies, Todd, look at them, "and the past and present players taking to the stage, there's a lot to celebrate. We want to continue building on that success that the club has enjoyed over the years, and our mantra has not changed since the day that we became custodians of Chelsea Football Club. We want to win together and to make you proud." Oh yeah, he's always talked a good game, Todd Boehly. And that's what they've said. They came in with their eyes open, like, well, Chelsea win, Chelsea is successful. They'll note that this recent manager in Pochettino, who they did an, quote, exhaustive interview process before they hired him. The first thing Pochettino was talking about how Chelsea are the most successful team in the last sort of 20 years. Almost certainly are about to or have been taken over by City, whatever. But, you know, Chelsea are consistently winning trophies. And in that earliest 7-8 year part, certainly more than Man City. So they are so aware that he's just said, looking at these trophies around the room, they are very, very business-minded. They want to make a new stadium as quick as possible. They want to do a Project 2030. They believe Chelsea can make so much more money with player trading, with not paying as much wages. A lot of stuff that I do agree with. So they've gone in really hard. But Chelsea fans are naturally frustrated and upset with the performances on the pitch and the feeling of inconsistency. I'm not going to read the quotes now, but we had Hakim Ziyech coming out a day or two ago, talking to some Dutch football correspondents, I believe, talking about how, look, we can talk about Chelsea, but it was madness that last period I was there. There was 40 really good players there. Players, you know, he's talking about outside the dressing room, and it was just mental, and it was just never going to work. He wasn't dissing the club. He was just saying that situation was untenable and mad. So fans have been pissed off, naturally, because it's just been carnage. Maybe settling a little bit, but we don't... Chaos and trophies, right? And those trophies were decorated around the annual lunch. So he's seen that. And we haven't had chaos and trophies for the last 2 years. We've just had chaos. And the type of chaos that doesn't show like it's been letting up. Obviously, December is going to bring a lot of fixtures, right? If we win a bunch of games, then the narrative will flip very, very quickly, as what happens in football, right? So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, it's good to hear him talk. It doesn't surprise me that he's sort of gone quiet a little bit, just trying to let Pochettino get on with it. I imagine he's been in America dealing with stuff for all of his other ventures. When you're losing, you don't want the owners to keep necessary. I know people want to hear from like the owners and sporting directors when things aren't going well to just offer clarity. But maybe also it's kind of good to just let the team settle and have them like duke it out between themselves while they're trying to find themselves and find each other as a team. That's probably not when you need Todd Boehly going into the dressing room going, "Hey guys, how we going? Why aren't we winning games?" Do you know what I mean? So I kind of like, that's fine. But yeah, I just want to see something soon. Do you know what I mean? And it does seem like he will always be available to talk. Like there's certain clubs, like, you know, if you imagine a Manchester United lunch, imagine if, you know, Avram Glazer turns up to that like, "Hey guys," he'd get like ripped apart. So the incentives there is like, look, ever since the beginning, we want to be good, we want to be better, and we want to keep this going, but we also essentially want to build Chelsea in the right direction in relation to all the stuff that hadn't been built, the foundational stuff. So that's good, that's positive. In terms of hearing from the ownership and sporting directors, I think I've said this before, I'll kind of reiterate that maybe it would have been good to hear Stuart or Winstanley at some point to explain like what our strategy and plan is, but then maybe it's actually in Chelsea's interest not to have that in public, you know, tabloid media about what our, you know, insider strategy is. Even if people within the industry know what's going on and like analysts can see what's going on, maybe them coming out and saying, "This is our exact plan, how to run the club," maybe that's detrimental. So I get how it's just really tough, especially when we're not stable and winning constantly. Anyway, let's talk about more football related stuff. I do want to end on Caicedo. It's been a massive talking point. Pochettino was asked about his sort of shaky form and the price tag. Of course, he remains the most expensive player in Premier League history at £115 million. Yeah, fine. Maybe he's not looking like that player like he did at the end of, at the end of his Brighton tenure. Obviously, he had no pre-season because he wanted the Chelsea transfer. And then he's been going to South America. 3 international breaks flying off to South America that will affect your performance in a new club, in a new team. So I'm kind of chill about it. And I actually think he's been pretty good. Like, considering all that, I think he's been pretty good. And it's this talking point of like, oh, what about Caicedo's form? And, you know, Pochettino's having to defend him. And I'm thinking, what? You know, fine. Like, you know, I know he's going to get better. Everyone's going to get better, touch wood. But I just kind of wanted to say that. I saw another article as well talking about him at right back. And I've said this before as well, in the absence of Reece James and Malo Gusto, which will be the case tomorrow against Brighton, because Caicedo played a lot of right back at the end of his time at Brighton, playing it very, very well. And I wonder, keeping Disasi as a centre-back next to Thiago Silva, what's worked so well, Levo Cowell to the left, and then playing Caicedo to the right might work. My only issue is his absence against Newcastle. It made our midfield very, very poor indeed. But maybe we see that. I mean, if we see him at right back, and also he can invert a little bit. I know that's fancy tactics that, you know, Guardiola and Arsenal do. Everyone does inverted fullbacks now. Certainly the biggest example in terms of a right back inverting at the moment is, of course, Trent Alexander-Arnold at Liverpool. He's doing it loads. He rarely drops back into the right back position now. So, but that does seem like a whole team tactic that accommodates this space being vacated on the right, moving into midfield. And I don't think we have time for that. I think we need to nail down plan A with Chelsea. But I do think it's an option, Caicedo at right back. And I wanted to say as well that let me know what you think, because I think he's played kind of well. I don't think he's been, £115 million, but new team, 3 international breaks, lots of travel, and it's, just dysfunctional project at Chelsea. It's like, fine. It's fine. So let me know what you think about that. All right, gang, I'm going to end it there. Thanks for joining me. Do consider supporting the content if you like my commentary on Chelsea. Just simply like and subscribe, and I will hopefully see you, friends, back here very soon. Of course, tomorrow I'll do a complete breakdown of Chelsea Brighton. Hopefully we win. All right, peace.